Nothing is good without you.
Henri. She stroked his cheek, her body against his. He felt almost giddy.
La Chapelle!
He whipped round. Didier Picard stood at the head of his horse, a groom at his side preparing his saddle. He was pulling on his gloves.
Perhaps if you think about your riding as much as your English whore, we can achieve something, eh?
Florence didn't know enough French to understand, but she caught the look that flickered across Picard's face. And Henri saw, she had guessed, that whatever the other Frenchman had said, it was not complimentary. The familiar anger rose, and he set his jaw against it. He shook his head at Florence, trying to convey to her Picard's stupidity, his irrelevance. Picard had been like this, insulting, provocative, since the trip to England, when she and Henri had met.
English girls had no class, Picard had exclaimed in the mess afterwards.
Henri knew that it had been aimed directly at him.
They did not know how to dress. They ate like pigs at a trough. They would lie down with anyone for a few francs, or the equivalent of a pint of that foul beer.
It had taken him weeks to work out that Picard's bile had little to do with Florence, and everything to do with his fury at having been usurped within Le Cadre Noir, jostled aside by the son of a farmer. Not that it made it easier to hear it. Picard's voice echoed down the yard.
I hear there are rooms near the Quai Lucien Gauthier, a little more fitting than a stable yard, n'est-ce pas?
Henri's hand tightened around Florence's. He tried to keep his voice calm as he spoke.
You could be the last man on earth, and she would be too good for you, Picard. Don't you know, farmer boy, that any whore will have you if the price is right?
Picard smirked, placed a perfectly polished boot in his stirrup, and vaulted onto his horse. Henri made to step forward, but Florence stopped him. "Darling, look, I'd better get to my seat," she said, backing away. "You need to prepare." She hesitated, then reached up and kissed him again, her slim white hand pulling the back of his neck towards her. He knew what she was trying to do. Tug his thoughts from Picard's poison. And she was right. It was impossible to feel anything but joy when Florence's lips were on his own. She smiled. "Bonne chance, écuyer."
"Écuyer,"
he repeated, momentarily diverted, touched that in his absence she had discovered the correct word for horseman. "I'm learning." She blew a kiss, her eyes filled with mischief, with promise. And then she was gone, his English girl, running back down the long stables, her heels clicking on the cobbles. Le Carrousel, the annual military festival, traditionally marked the end of a year of training for the young cavalry officers of Saumur. As usual, the July weekend was thick with visitors to the medieval town, keen not just to witness the passing out of the young cavalrymen, but the traditional displays of cavalry riding, motorbike acrobatics, and the parade of tanks, their great hulls still scarred from the war. It was 1960. The old guard was teetering in the face of an onslaught of popular culture, of shifting attitudes and Johnny Halliday. But in Saumur, there was little appetite for change. The annual performance of the 22 elite French horsemen, some military, some civilian, who comprise Le Cadre Noir, the highlight of Le Carrousel weekend, was always enough to guarantee that the tickets were sold out within days. To the local community, to those who were imbued with a sense of France's heritage, and on a less cerebral level, to those intrigued by posters all over the Loire region, promising majesty, mystery, horses that defy gravity. Le Cadre Noir had been born almost 250 years earlier.